Bob Thompson is a man who once was selected as the Western Manitoba Sportsman of the Year and received the Crew Crawford Award. That would be just one of the highlights in your playing days, but I guess it really goes back to starting as a minor baseball player in your hometown.
Well, I was very fortunate actually I got started in Macaulay, which was just a little hamlet about 40 minutes out of Burden. But then fortunate enough to move to Burden, where I had a couple of excellent mentors in Laurie Artist and Murray Richardson. And these fellows spent a lot of time with the youth, and we were very fortunate back then. There wasn't a lot of other competition of sports, and so baseball and hockey seemed to be the two things that were seasonal, and we developed some pretty good baseball teams as a result of them. And
well, you started off on a high note. You won the Canadian Championship one of those years in Burden.
Yeah, with the Pony, and we went actually with the Canadian Championships. We went to Moose Jaw.
Sure.
And that was really a highlight.
Did you go on with the team when it went down to the States the following year?
No, I wasn't. I was a little bit younger than the other crew, so I wasn't selected for that. When they went to Rochester, I believe.
Right. Tell me now, what about highlights as you played after that? What would stand out really in that regard?
Well, I guess the others too. At 17, I ended up going and playing some baseball with the St. Lazare Athletics in the Senior League. And it was kind of neat to have a 17-year-old with full yards coming over and picking me up on an airplane to go and pitch and then drive me home or flying me back. So I felt it was kind of neat, but I really enjoyed playing with them. And then playing with the Cloverleafs for a number of years too. I played with Burden for it was sort of spotty, but for one full year and then part of another year. But with the St. Lazare team athletic and meeting Satchel Paige and playing against him a couple of times, that was a real true highlight, but also being involved in the various championship teams that we played on over the years. But the Cloverleafs were a class act. We had a great team and very competitive within our province and nationally too.
Sure. Laurie Artist, one of your former coaches, said you were a tremendous pitcher for your age, you know.
Well, I really appreciated Laurie, and he really set me straight. There was one little incident. I remember one time I didn't bother going to practice. This was a young kid, and if there's anyone out there listening along the way, I'd happened to be fishing that day, so I got my uniform on and ready to go to play ball that night. And he said, "Bob, you couldn't make it to practice. We can't use you tonight." And I'll have to talk to Laurie. That was a downer, but you know what? A great learning experience. You have to be there and be dedicated.
Yeah. When you were with the Cloverleafs, you had some outstanding teams. Anybody on that team that really stands out as somebody that had a special influence on your baseball career?
Well, Jerry McKay in particular, Tommy Town. These were two very competitive fellows. Well, I'm going back to our coaches there too, like the fellows that did the jobs in there that were with us. Herb Powers, just a guy dedicated on and off the field. So I'd have to put those fellows in that particular category. And Bob Wilson, they also impacted greatly on me and gave me lots of opportunities to play and very competitively.
The Manitoba Senior Baseball League, I wouldn't say has fallen on bad times, but there has been shrinkage out there. Any comments in that regard as to how it's become?
Well, I think now we're competing with soccer, some fastball too. There was always some good fastball teams out there, but there tends to be other sports that tend to vie for your time. And I found that personally, and I guess it's kind of ironic, I guess we're all talking about, we had the best teams back then, but we were able to, we recruited, we had more Americans than we have right now.
Sure.
But even though we brought up a number of Americans, that we really developed our Canadian fellows into the pitching. Like, I think we did a very good job of that. So I personally feel that the league back in the 70s, that was probably the strongest that we'd ever seen in Manitoba. When I go back, I guess the earlier days, even beyond that, when a guy named Cliff Corey in the Burden, I go back in those eras, there were some excellent ball teams. When Satchel spent some time there too. But I felt that we had a great bunch of guys. They were wanting to come out and play ball. There didn't seem to be a lot of other little obstacles in the way from coming out to practices, and developed into some very good teams.
Bob, you were inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 2001. What did it mean to you then, and what does it mean to you now?
Well, that's the absolute highlight. You take a look at the others that were inducted prior to and that have been coming in since. It's a real privilege to have some of your peers feel that you deserve to be there, and I feel humbled and honored.
Bob Thompson from, wait a minute, I better start that again. I was gonna say from Macaulay. Yeah, I guess it was really, yeah.
Yep, that's
Okay.
right.
Had it. Bob Thompson, originally from Macaulay, Manitoba, who made his place in the Baseball Hall of Fame through efforts in different teams along the way, particularly with the Brandon Cloverleafs.